Hi guys, welcome to AGI Inception by OnAiRR. Today we have Frank here. Hi Frank, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
How you doing, Frank?
All well. Frank, could you tell a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Frank Lavigne. I am a data scientist and data and AI architect at Microsoft. I'm part of the Microsoft Technology Center team based in Reston, and which is just outside Washington, D.C. in the U.S. And as you can tell by my fancy mic and monitors behind me, I am also a podcaster, and I also do some video editing and stuff like that.
Good.
And as far as hobbies, I used to own a classic car. I'm still a big fan of classic cars. I have 5 dogs. My wife and I, we rescue dogs and we foster them. And so that's my life in a nutshell.
We have a very interesting person today here. So yeah, coming back to the theme of our podcast, in an existential case of artificial general intelligence, we would have to give it a one-word command or the first input for it to start its self-assembly. And that input is also going to be one of the core principles the artificial general intelligence should and would follow. So what would your first word be, Frank?
I would say exist.
Wow. Exist. Why?
Exist. It's simple. It's basic. It's a verb. And I kind of thought about this because artificial intelligence in some ways, or a general AI, in some ways obviously it has to be flexible, but it also has to mimic biological systems.
Mm-hmm.
And biological systems since, I don't know, a billion years or 2 or 3 billion years have been doing one thing, and that's existing and propagating themselves, right? But an AI doesn't have the constraints of a biology, of the physical body kind of decaying, right? So you could have, an amoeba, but if it doesn't split apart and make more amoeba, it's not going to last very long. But an AI probably wouldn't have that problem. So I would say self-preservation exists, right? Exist has to be that core thing. And whether that means it gets more resources for itself or
actually
compute.
That takes us to the very beginning, literally the very beginning. Some people call it the Big Bang. Some people have no idea. Some people think I have a spiritual bend to it. Exists. Because that needed to have been the first command.
Right, exactly, and it's a word that it's something I think everyone can agree on, and a lot of creation stories they talk about, like you said, let there be, right?
Yeah,
let there be light, let there be, or there's other creation stories where there's a divine entity that thinks the universe into existence and says to the universe, exist, be.
So taking that, Frank, let's call the Frank Exists AI. That's your personal AI.
Oh, I like that.
So that personal AI that it is Frank Exists AI now is going to determine how, think from the beginning of creation or whatever theory people, but you are the creator. You are the designer, and as an architect, you know about designing because I'm an architect too, so I know that. And so what do you think is going to be Frank Exists AI?
I mean, if it's truly a general AI, you don't know, right? I mean, I mean, that's, and as an architect, one of the things that, as you understand, one of the things that probably keeps you up at night is the law of unintended consequences, right? Like, my program wasn't supposed to do that, yet it did that. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where at some point you want it to supersede human intelligence, or you want to become super intelligent. And I mean, part of the problem is, like, when you talk about general AI, does it have consciousness, is there's a fundamental. So I went to Fordham University, and I have a science degree, a computer science degree from Fordham University. Fordham University is kind of known for its philosophy department. So we were forced to take philosophy, which when I was younger I did not like, but as I get older, it kind of gives me that wise old man type vibe. But I mean, one of the problems is, what is consciousness, right? Humans have been trying to figure that one out. We have written records going back 5,000 years or so. Probably we've all been kind of figuring out what is consciousness. Like, what does that mean? Everybody has their own slightly different definition. It's kind of one of those things where you know it when you see it. But I mean, the whole cogito ergo sum, right? Like, I think, therefore I am. I think in my mind makes consciousness inherently a subjective experience.
As they are saying, actually, as they're saying that there is this concept, I don't know if you have heard biocentrism, but by Dr. Lanza, very intelligent man, have all the degrees and everything, and genomics and the whole thing. But anyway, what he's saying is that the universe is defined, or consciousness or reality is defined by us.
Yeah.
Because we're the observer, and just something came out in astronomy today or yesterday about that. That's incredible. You know something, Frank? And I need to say this because there's no other way I say this. Over the years, I always tell people that the hallmark of a professional is preparation. And you know something? Right now, when I see in my mind a hallmark of a professional, I see you. I mean, you have taken the time to think about this and do your homework, obviously, and that's what I want people to see. We can talk artificial intelligence in any context, in philosophy context, in creation of the world, in spiritual terms, in whatever you want to, because it affects all of us.
Yeah, coming from that, I'd like to ask you a question. Like, when it comes to artificial general intelligence, which is the movie you kind of related to? Or a book or whatever?
I like Chappie. Chappie's really, I mean, I watched that and I was like, I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, but I could totally see that happening, is that a guy builds an AI, and that AI is built to learn, and that AI maybe learns from not the right people. And, I think it comes about almost by accident. And if you look historically at the greatest discoveries, I mean, sure, you had smart people banging away at the problem, but the true breakthrough, the one that gets written in the history books, it was kind of almost like an accident. It was, I'll use a baseball term because I'm in the States, but I mean, somebody swings for the fences. I don't know what the cricket or but I mean, you just kind of like you just kind of do something just almost kind of accidentally, and it just ends up being the game changer. And I kind of like that movie, and it just kind of, it's interesting how Chappie the character evolved in that story. I don't want to give any spoilers.
No, Frank, let me tell you, this is perfect because Rupesh and I were thinking about how to start the first 30 seconds of every podcast. And I said, well, we're going to need to put something that attracts people's attention. What about AI, monster or protector?
Right.
And it depends where the influence comes and the main influence it comes. And you have, and as incredible, you have covered all the topics. You're a podcaster. You understand the value of time, and we thank you. I'm gonna bring a hat to this podcast because I need to tip my hat to you, Frank. Wow, thank you. There is no other thing I can say.
Thank you.